Welcome back to another segment of Behind the Scenes of the Waltons. This is another segment of Ask Judy where I'm taking more of your questions. If you are enjoying these, please do hit like and subscribe. Question here from Kat T. If you did not grow up and become an actress, what path would you have chosen? Singer maybe? Sports? Good question. When I started riding horses, I was obsessed with it. And there were points where I thought, oh, if I wasn't acting, I think I'd want to train horses or something. You know, with the naivete that I thought I was good enough to do that, which I'm not. I understand a lot. I can ride well, but I don't ride well enough to train a horse if it doesn't know how to do something. If it knows how to do it, I can get it to do it, usually. Singer, I don't know. When I was younger, I didn't sing well enough. So I know when I was in school before the Waltons, I always loved sports and PE. So I thought maybe I might consider being a PE teacher. And then once I started doing the series, I didn't think all that much about what else I might do. So I was sort of committed down a path at that point. Okay, when an episode is filmed, the scenes are not filmed in order. No, that is true. For me, I think it would be hard to feel the mood of the story if everything is jumbled and out of sequence. That's true. Like with theater, you go in order, which is nice. Sometimes in film or television, you'll do certain things in sequence. If you're in the same set, you might do things a bit in order. But yes, you do jump around, and it's just something that you sort of get used to. And when I would prepare the night before for what I was filming the next day, part of it would be, you know, keeping in mind where that scene occurred within the scope of the show. And I think it just, and with our characters, we kind of knew how our characters were about certain situations. So I think it was a little easier. But yes, it just takes more planning, and you just have to do your homework. And then before a scene, if you need to make notes or remind yourself where you are in the story, sometimes the director will remind you of something. But it's really up to the actor to kind of know where you are and what's going on in the arc of your character. So just part of the craft. I have a question from Raymond Schneider. When there was a shot of one actor speaking with a second actor and that shot is taken over the shoulder of the second actor, does the second actor speak their lines or arbitrarily move their mouth? Definitely. The off-camera actor always speaks the lines. What you don't want to do is overlap. So if you aren't on camera, you definitely don't want to interfere with a clean soundtrack for the actor who's on camera. So even if there's a point where you would feel compelled to jump on that to respond to something, you always had to sort of wait and make sure that actor was finished. And then you could have the same energy, but you just had to wait for that to be clean. But always, always spoke. And even if it was an over the shoulder, then the actor had to be there. Sometimes if it was a close up and the other actor for some reason wasn't there, end of the day, it was one of the children, they had to go home. If they would give an eye line, or they might have someone else stand there. Usually it wasn't just an eye line. It's like, look, like right here by the camera or something like that. So sometimes we were speaking to a spot where no one was there. And the sound was coming from usually the script supervisor throwing the lines. So that would be the only time when, and if another person did stand there for a sight line, they would not move their lips. That would be more distracting than having the sound coming from someplace else, which seems odd, but that's how I felt about it anyway. And then you had another question. Have you ever acted in a TV show or movie that was filmed in a normal neighborhood? How did it make you feel to be involved in the process to bring in all the recording equipment to a neighborhood? Yes, I have. A number of times I've worked in regular neighborhoods. We might use a house in a neighborhood, or we might use the street. Now, they always sort of blocked off stuff for the equipment and to make sure traffic didn't come through, and they'd have people to monitor all of that. But I always found it fun to kind of be out on location like that, because you would always have people who kind of were wanting to look and see what was going on. And it just kind of was fun for me to sort of feel like we were bringing some Hollywood magic into just a regular neighborhood or something like that. Also happened when I was living and working up in Vancouver, Canada, I did a lot of TV shows up there, and we would often work in just regular neighborhoods. So I always thought it was a lot of fun. Question here from Dave. When playing football, how is that directed? Did the director say play a game, or were there specific rules and blocking going on? Was it just a lot of film shot and let the editor put it all together? I'm thinking, unless it was scripted for specific things to happen, then it probably was just good. Let's play a game. Let's get a lot of different shots, and then we'll edit it together. In the episode The System, when the young man played football, which is the only time I remember there specifically being football, like with players, they would have featured whatever needed to happen for that character. So they would have had a plan for what shots they wanted to do, but they probably would have then just let them sort of scrimmage a bit to pick up some other shots. That's my best guess. And then you had another question. I noticed a lot of extras in the classroom, all in costume. I can imagine with costumes and makeup, this can be a difficult scene to film. How does it work with an extra? I've always been curious about extras because since you don't say lines, does that mean you don't get paid either? Do they get a SAG card? Do extras come off the street and walk in for audition? Okay, so the whole thing with extras, with background players, on something like the Waltons, we would have a pool. There is a central casting. A production company could call them and say, I need X number of background players today, and they need to be, these sort of ages or types or things like that. Wardrobe would always have wardrobe there that could fit the various different extras that came in. They would have extras that sort of recurred on the show. You saw certain people that were at church or at the Baldwins or, at the Waltons when we had some sort of bigger gathering. So they might request particular people when they needed extras. And then sometimes some of our siblings in the classroom with the children, some of our siblings came to be extras in those scenes. But extras, typically there's guidelines on that. Extras do get paid if they're part of the union. Sometimes extras don't get paid if they're not union and the production isn't union. I don't remember all the rules on that. The union rules have changed, and there used to be an extras guild. So if you were with the extras guild, then you did get paid and you could get your cards. So they're not allowed to say anything. If they say something then that's featured on camera, then it's a bump in pay. If they interact with one of the leads or one of the main actors, it's called a silent bit, and they will get a bump. So a lot of those types of things come up. I don't recall all of the rules on that. Again, if I can get one of our production people in, maybe I can give you more details on that. That's what I have for you for this segment of Ask Judy. If you have questions, you can go ahead and put them in the comments below, which is where I pull them from. I'll be back next time with more behind the scenes of the Waltons, and I'll have more of your questions in a segment of Ask Judy. Thanks for watching.